You are now tuned into My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to gods, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule. And that's be respectful. You are now tuned into My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. Goons to gods, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule. And that's be respectful.
I'll let us next week, man.
No doubt, man, and definitely shout out to the family, liberationmindedmedia.net. That is Black Eye Stand, Do the Knowledge Radio, The Rundown with Renee, and My Skin is My Sin. Oh, and don't forget to share the show, man. If you check it out today, or if you check it out next week, or if you check it out in 1,000 years, and if you are that motherfucker that digs us up in 1,000 years, you are the most phenomenal individual to ever walk the galaxy for digging up this greatness and still share our shit, man. Shout out to you. Don't forget to check out the websites, emeraldshell.com, designsbymonet.com, and myskinismysin.net.
Real quick message to the black man. Brothers, you know I love you. And you do know that we're under attack, right?
I want 5 good men who know how to shut their lips. Just give me 5 times 5 women so I got choices and picks. Make them racially diverse so my seeds make a good mix. The 5 men we gon' rob the rap game, hit just 2 big licks. We gon' do like 50 of them did, drop mixtapes first. Make sure punchlines and lyrical content fatten up every verse. The first time I spit a rap, I spit like 16 bars. Now I got 1,200,316 bars. Instead of 5, they need to give me like 15 stars, cause for 20 years I've been dropping some of rap's hardest 16 bars. See, dudes be acting shy like they afraid to step to the beat. I not only step up to the beat, my lyrics, they step up the heat. See, I make a dude who's faking, take a walk and go find a seat. Plus I make a DJ love my style and wanna go find me a beat. Even night broads be begging me to like slide them to me. CEOs on their lunch breaks be listening on the side of the street. Dudes like 50 and Lil Wayne is lucky that they reached their peak. Fortunately for them, Pac and Big died and I ain't been able to speak. Even all my peeps know I was kidnapped by the B.O.B. Cause if I would've been out, a lot of these dudes would've been D.O.N.E. They vocabularies ain't extensive enough to mess with a god. They think I'm a savior like the nation did with Master Farad. I'm like a magic potion that got mixed in the womb of my mom. Like if you mix Christianity and Islam, you have Chrislam. Like mixing politics with cons, what you got with Saddam. Mixing time with an improvised explosive device, you got you a bomb. See, I spit it like I live it cause you know I'm that real. And to be honest with you, lyrically, I'm that deal. So when rappers come to cypher, they usually come 5 deep or better. I gotta admit, I love it like that, cause it makes me just that much better. Compared to pneumonia, my German's like 5 times thicker. H1N1 beg not to catch me, I'm 5 times sicker. I'm slicker than Greek, slim and cut up, so I'm that much fitter. Look at her face, I'm the Kool-Aid without the sugar, just much more bitter. See, I'm a threat in any cipher, I'm sorta like a lyrical don. So every time I get on the mic, even the president's like, oh no, he's on. But it ain't my fault dudes is jealous, cause I'm just that nice. I hit the studio, they like he's here now, so adjust that mic. Got a sick flow, high intense like ganja fiend. Due to the rap game what Bernie Madoff did with Ponzi schemes. Now so far I've been rapping for like over 2 whole minutes. I got enough bars in me left to last the length of a movie intermission. Cause every punchline and every bar I write's got so much in it. Sometimes I say something and women be like, girl, no he didn't.
You don't know what you do. What you do will kill you. You don't know what you do. But what you do will kill you. You don't know what you do. But what you do will kill you. You don't know what you do. 'Cause what you do will kill you.
What's good, fam? This is Jobs, and you are tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to gods, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule, and that's be respectful. Y'all already know, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to your family. How is your life? How is your day?
If it was shitty, hopefully we can make it just a little bit better. And if you had a good one, let's make it great. Anyway, yo, we got a dope one tonight. Man. We got the king, the activist. And while we on this, man, as a self-proclaimed hip-hop purist and connoisseur, I did not know that the king got bars. And I'm not, y'all know, man, I will talk shit about people if I think it's trash. Like Yarima got bars. I really about to get into the catalog even deeper. So far, I'm just into the first CD, but how in the fuck I missed this greatness for years, I'm embarrassed to say it. Anyway, man, y'all know we typically don't say shit for the first 15 minutes, but since we got the king in the queue, man, we're going to go ahead and bring him on the line. What's good, bro? How you doing, fam?
Peace, family. I'm good, man. Let me tell you, let me start off by saying I'm so appreciative for you having me on, family. We don't take these things lightly, and we know that, you know, brothers and sisters out here speaking truth to power, it's hard to get a platform these days. So I commend you for the work that you're doing, for even providing a platform for us to be able to talk with our people, man. So shout out to you, family.
That's fucking dope, man. I'm pumped, man. It don't usually happen and shit. We'll take it, though.
Oh, absolutely. You got to give the host. That's where it starts. That's where it starts with you, brother. So,
and matter of fact, before we go any further, man, let me get my co-host to plug in on the line right quick, man. What's good, bro? How you doing? We got Yarima on the line.
Yo, peace, brother. What's going on, man?
Peace, family. Good.
Well, you sound like you're calling in from the workhouse, bro.
It did sound like workhouse, though.
Right.
Nah, I'm you know, man, I'll be in the cut, man. You know what I'm saying? I gotta move around. So.
No doubt.
Anyway, man, if you are just tuning in, man, we literally don't talk about shit for the first 15 minutes. But we had the honor and the privilege, man, to have a brother Yarima Karama on with us, man, and I definitely appreciate your honor and your wisdom. Let's talk about the nigga before the king. What was he like?
Trying to find myself lost. Give you a little bit of background. Grew up, had a very abusive stepfather, but he was in the home, but he was just very abusive. So I left home at 14, constantly trying to find myself. Was always a pretty academically smart guy. So went to college, and you know, I mean, just in the face of transparency, you know, I have dwelled in those caves, meaning, you know, dating white women and that sort of thing. But you know what, family, it never, even while I was going through that in my unconscious state, something about that shit just never felt right. It was like always just something within my whole being was just like, this shit don't even feel right. So I went through that. Of course, got caught up in the prison industrial complex. And the first time I went was I was guilty of that. Young guy, okay. I think I was 19 the first time I went into the feds. Had a drug case. And actually at the time I was in college. So, and the judge, I'll never forget, the judge was like, man, you're just such a brilliant young man, out here, you know, and you're doing this. He said, and I just don't, you know, I don't feel like, you know, your whole life should be thrown away. And at the time, they still had, fortunately, in the federal system, they don't have it anymore, but they used to have the Pell Grant system. So I was able to continue, you know, my college, even in there, and I met some very, very brilliant brothers, man. And it was like an experience. And I even say till this day, and it's nothing to brag about. We don't glorify the prison industrial complex because we do know that, this is just another form of slavery. It is actually the new Jim Crow. So there's no glorification in that. I still got brothers and sisters in there doing time right now. They ain't murdered nobody. We got a cop who got 10 years who's going to do less than 5 for going in somebody's house and murdering them. But I got brothers and sisters in right now who don't have a body, period, and they doing life sentences, never getting out. Mm-hmm. So we never glorify the system. However, what I will say is I wouldn't be the person I am today without meeting those brothers in there. There's not a college in this country that's going to give the type of education that brothers will give in the prison industrial complex. It's just some brilliant men, man. And I don't say that lightly. I'm talking guys like Mutulu Shakur, Tupac's stepfather. Guys like Sunni Adiakole, who actually helped to free the queen, Assata Shakur, and was her co-defendant. Brothers like Guy Fisher out of New York.
Hey, King,
really, Dr. Dixon.
King, I apologize, but your sound got a little rougher than when the show started. I'm not sure if you moved or anything, but I want to make sure that people can hear you as crisply as possible. And for people that want to ask a question or make a comment, we're probably not going to do that for a minute. I want to make sure that the brother can talk to us. So give us a few minutes, and we'll take some calls at that time. But I don't want to, inadvertently keep you on hold. All right, my bad, bro.
Okay, can you hear me now? Are you good now?
Yeah, that's a little bit better right there. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, no, what I was saying is brothers like Mutulu Shakur, Tupac's stepfather, had a chance to sit down with these brothers and cipher with them. Brothers like Sunni Adiakole, the Queen Assata Shakur's co-defendant. And probably Sunni Adi's probably one of the most ripped brothers as far as working out and body shape and wise that I've ever met in the system. And he's an older brother. He's an elder. But the brother stays on rip. But just the knowledge base. And I was a quiet dude, but I was wild. Mm-hmm. I was quiet, but I have my demons, man, as we all do. And I think that these brothers saw something in me. They saw something in my quietness. And you would never know it by my live stream videos and that sort of thing, but I was very quiet. Even family members, like, they didn't want me to even come around, like family members, aunts, uncles, because they would tell my mother, like, something's wrong with him. He don't talk, he don't speak, he just observes everything. And I was very watchful. And that was part of, actually, once I came into a knowledge of self, I realized that's part of how I learn, by watching, observing. And so, but these brothers saw something in me, man, and just coming into the system, there's a few ways it can go. It can go left or right. You can get in with the wrong crowds. You can cipher with people who's on more criminal activity, or, you can get with brothers who genuinely are trying to build the revolutionaries, the political prisoners, those brothers who have actually been out here doing work, and they are essentially a threat to the system, and so that's why they reside where they reside. And those brothers embraced me, and I had a very short stay, came back out, unfortunately got with a very, ended up marrying an older woman, had a very bad relationship, and then I went back for my second bit. Now, this bit, I wasn't guilty. This bit, I did nothing. So I took it to trial, and they banged me out with 26 years. It started out, they banged me out with 26 years, 10 months. And they was trying to give me life, banged me out with 26, 10. The judge.
So did you have any idea that did your lawyer tell you that basically that's what you was gonna get? So you knew already.
Yeah, but the problem was is that they were trying to get me to plead to 10. Initially, they were trying to get me to plead to 10. Then it actually jumped to 15. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I'm young at the time. Like, man, I can't. There's no way I can do 12 years, and because at the time with the feds, you do 85% of your time. So a 15-year sentence, you're doing 12 and a half years. And so I'm just like, I can't do 12 and a half years, and plus I didn't do anything. And so in my naivety, I thought that a jury would see that, and not thinking that I'm going to get an all-white jury. And what was interesting about my case, my trial, is when they're picking the jurors, there was an Asian guy, and it was out of 38 people, he was the only what they consider minority in the court. And they asked him if he could be fair to the defense. He said yes. They asked him if he could be fair to the prosecution. He said yes. And that pause right there, they blocked him from the jury. They said he paused too long, so they didn't believe that he could be fair. So I literally had a jury of white people 50 years and older. There was nobody on that jury that was under the age of 50. And so I remember I had a good friend in the court. She was actually a character witness, and I remember we talked on the phone because she came to my first day of trial, and after that we talked, and she said, Yarima, she said, she said she was passing some of the jurors on their way to lunch when they called a recess for lunch that day, and she said, all I felt was coldness from all of them. She said, and Carolyn was a very spiritual woman. We haven't kept in contact, but at that time she was a good friend, very spiritual woman, and she was like, bro, all I felt was cold. She said, you ain't got nothing coming with them.
Wow.
And they found me guilty, boom. Judge said he didn't want to give me all the time that he was going to give me, but he had no choice because Congress passed this law and he had to abide by the guidelines. Boom, that was it. But he said that he wanted the record to reflect that if anybody ever looked at my case, he wanted them to see that this judge did not want to give me this much time. I appealed. The gun law came out because there was a gun on my case. Wasn't mine. Wasn't even in my name. But they tried attaching it to me. Gun law came out. I gave that back, and so I got 5 years knocked off. So I was down to 21 years, 10 months, and I did 19 years and 2 months. And that's basically kind of the start of the real education, the real sitting down. I remember being in groups, bruh, where like every night, it was a 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday. We would actually have classes in our cells. Now these weren't official classes. It wasn't mandatory that you attend, but you wanted to because of the knowledge base, the brothers that were involved. You had brothers from the nation, brothers from the Moors, brother from the Black Liberation Army, all building and ciphering, and I was sucking that up like a sponge. Brothers was pulling out books. We would pull out our books. We would refer to quotes. We would talk about solutions to problems plaguing our people. All of that was taking place, and that's the kind of brotherhood that I was connected with. And so what I realized is that these brothers, some of them who were never getting out, were actually prepping us younger brothers for when we did get out. And that's what I did. I prepped. And, I'll be honest with you. I never thought I was going to make it. You don't think you're going to make it out. I mean, as a young dude, I'm looking. Bro. Yeah, bruh, I never thought I was going to make it. I didn't think I was going to make it until about, I think I got down to about, I had 12 years left. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I can make this. I better really be prepared just in case I thought I was going to die. You can't see daylight. And then you're in places where brothers is getting banged out. Nice play is real. Watching a person's guts leak out of their body, that's real. That's not just in the movies. That shit is actual facts. And so, where brothers is pushing up on you, or where if your man gets into it, you got to get into it because they coming to see you because you connected with him, and and you ain't got no choice. And so, living under that type of environment, and having to carry that sword, and then you got the guards. I was in an environment, bruh, that the guards would bring in real knives for the white boys. They would bring in real butcher knives from the street. like this wasn't.
Wow.
This wasn't something where, this wasn't something like this ain't no TV shit. This is real shit. They would bring in real knives and tell the white boys, go to work. We giving you the real shit. And so, living up under that kind of environment, guards. There's a couple guards, and I could put you on with one of my brothers who's out right now. It tells you these guards used to purposely roll their sleeves up. Big corn-fed white boys. One of them, he got a picture of his tattoo is a picture of a baby hanging from a tree, a black baby. That's his tattoo.
Wow.
You had another guy. You had another white boy. His tattoo is black bodies hanging from trees. That was his. Those were their tattoos. I'm talking about big corn-fed white boys. These were the guards. These were the COs. So, that's the kind of mentality and environment that I lived through for 19 years, better part of 19 years, and so it really prepped me. But I also had good brothers, man, that really took an interest in me and said, you know what, brother, we're going to pour it into you. We see something in you, and I'm just thankful for that. So that's just kind of the backstory of me as a kid. Had the fights just like regular kids. Had the issues of what they called today bullying. We just called it making you tougher. You got picked on. That was just a thing that we as kids went through. It wasn't bullying. We ain't gonna commit suicide, but
I mean, niggas wasn't putting niggas in lockers and shit like that either. It wasn't like maliciously.
Niggas did reckless shit.
Well, maybe
niggas did a lot of malicious shit in school.
That might be.
Man.
I don't recall that, man. We were civilized. I'm just fucking with you.
The difference. The difference is we couldn't record it. That's all it is.
Yeah, you got a point.
If you got your ass whooped, like niggas who's gonna be watching that shit. You took the L, right? You get some get back, fight again, and you end up being friends later on and down the line. Now you get your ass whooped. You get your ass whooped every day, 10,000, thousands of people watching your ass get whooped. It's different. That's a whole different type of pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel the gift and the curse for this generation, but each generation, got their own cross to bear as far as technology is concerned.
Yeah, we used to do wrestling moves on niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? DDT niggas. It was hilarious. You know what I mean?
So you get out the joint, and do you just instantly hit the ground running? I want to change my people.
Actually, this is how it went down. And it might sound kind of funny, but it's real. My first 7 days out, that was Mom. We talking, we building. Let me try to get reacclimated, see what's going on, and then after that 7 days, bro, I've been on the mission ever since. And that mission started. I got out the 13th of December 2012. I started putting in work the 20th of December 2012.
Wow.
And I've been hitting the streets. I think my first speaking engagement was at OSU, Ohio State University, and that happened I got out December of 2012. That happened in February of 2013. And I kind of actually, so this is what I did. I put together a plan. When I got down to 5 years, I said, okay, I can. So at 12 years, I was like, maybe I better start preparing just in case I make it, because that's how you think. You don't, prison is funny, so you don't know you're going to make it. So then when I got down to 5 years, and they had told me that I would never make it to a camp. They was like, you're never going to a camp. As a matter of fact, what's also important is while I was in, I was a problem. So that's kind of where that song, if you got my first CD, My Testament Volume 1, that's where that song Problem comes from. So the feds, they transfer you. They got they transfer. So I got transferred all over the country. Like in the 19 years, I was at 12 different spots. Wow. All over the country, East Coast to West Coast. They never kept me near my family. They always kept me away. I was in Terre Haute, USP Beaumont, Leavenworth, Atlanta, Greenville, Illinois, Oxford, Wisconsin. I was all over the country.
Damn.
Because I filed paperwork, I was outspoken, and they didn't like that. And so I was a guy that every time I got a write-up, like 6 write-ups, I beat them. And they was just like, no, people don't beat write-ups. And then I started filing for other people. And they were just like, they would get me up out of spots. And so so when I got out, so 5 years, they said I would never make it to a camp. But the universe, I call it, people call it God, they call it Jehovah, they call it Yahweh, Allah. I call it the universe. The universe, I always say, if you work in cahoots with it, it will work in cahoots with you. So 5 years, I started putting together a plan. And then I had this counselor tell me, he said, you know what, your points are so low. Why ain't you at a low? He said, your points are actually low enough where you could be at a camp. And I said, shoot, they told me I'd never get to a camp. So with about 3 years left, they got me to a low. And then my last 2 years, they actually got me to a camp. And I wasn't used to that. Like but this was all prepping. This was all prepping because the guys that were at the camp, a lot of them were guys that were just coming in. They had been out. So it gave me kind of a visual of what I was going to be dealing with out here in these streets. Straight clowns. Okay. So, but which is why they had camps, a lot of rats, that sort of thing. And so part of it is a setup, too. They hope that you'll go here because they know that you ain't on rats. They know that you don't mess with rats. Part of it, too, is they hope you'll go to these spots, jack somebody off, increase your time, bring you back up to a high, and then you never get out. That's part of it. So it can be part of a setup, too. But I wrote the plan down, which is very important. I tell young people, you can have a plan all day. It's great, but it becomes just lip service. When you write it down, that's when it becomes live. So I wrote my plan out, very detailed, very specific. And then I readjusted the plan over the course of years. Since I've been out, I've had to do my vision board. I just did my vision board about a year and a half ago. But everything that I said I was going to do before I did. So when I got out, I immediately started kicking in doors as far as speaking engagements and as far as on the poetry scene, spoken word poetry.
Mm-hmm.
I got a job. I always knew I wanted to have my own business. But I said I got to start somewhere. So I got a job. And what I would do is I would actually use my money to travel to different spots. I traveled anywhere from 3 to 8 hours away just to go do one poem. Because I said, you know what? I think I'm good enough. I'm good enough that if I spit this one poem, I think they're going to ask me back and pay me. They're going to have me back as a feature. That's how much confidence I had. Not arrogance, but confidence. And that's what I did. Started kicking indoors. Then I started putting, because the brothers was like, man, you got to do a hip hop album. You owe it to the community. You got to do one, because I spit while I was in. That was one of my. That was actually my therapy, brother. That was actually my therapy, going to the band room and doing and spitting. So brothers was like, man, you got it. And I was like, nah, I'm not really on that. Like, it was like, bro, you owe it to the community, man. They need to hear you. And so
shout out to them too, by the way.
Yeah. So I got out, made a couple connections for my first CD, and I put it out. And at the time, I remember me and the brother were talking about the numbers, and I actually took on a second job, so I was working 2 jobs. But I'm going to tell you, there's 2 things that brothers told me out of everything that I learned, and I was with some heavyweights. But there was 2 things that a brother named Hamza out of the Bronx, where I'm from, told me that was like key for me. And I think it's key for a lot of brothers coming home that they should heed. And this other brother, I can't even remember his name, but he was out of Alabama. That brother out of Alabama said, you owe it to yourself, brother, to play the lottery. And I thought it was like the stupidest shit that I was like, what? Do you know who I am? Play the lottery? And he was like, brother, he was an elder. He said, bro, all this time you done, you owe it to yourself to play the lottery. He said, trust me. I said, okay. So I play the lottery periodically, but only when it reaches like 150 million and all of that. But the other brother, I do that. That's Yarima Karama. Because if I hit, trust me, there's things that I want to do with this black community. Let me hit that shit.
Okay,
but
let's stop right there then. Let me stop you right there, though, bro. Like, you get that $100 million. Okay. Let's say you hit tomorrow. What's the top 3 things you do to change black people?
I don't think it's so much change. I think it's so much to add value to the tribe that is already doing work. So first thing we're looking at is land. That's the first thing. Because I honestly believe that you need a place to, even if you're going to fight, which we're not in a position, but we don't even have any land. So we don't even have a structure to fight from, a base to fight from. So I think the first thing is land. I also have an admin team. My admin team, they do it on GP. They do it out of love for me and out of love for the mission. I think that the people who support you, you have to make sure that they are taken care of first and foremost. So those would be the 2 things starting off. As much land as possible, because we do know, this is the thing, we know that if our ancestors were here, we know that, like thousands of years they were here. So we need to own as much of this as possible. And I instill that. That's even in my book, please. We need to own as much land as possible, because at the end of the day, most people are not going to pack their bags and trek across the Atlantic to Africa. They're just not. People can talk that, but a few will, but the majority are not. So if you're going to be here, you need to own as much land as possible. If I had that $100 million, I'm getting land, and then I'm putting property on that land for our people. Now you have a place to reside. You want to get away from there's ghost towns for sale around this country. Hundreds of them. You could build your own community, and it doesn't cost that much. I mean, it costs a lot to people who don't have it, but group economics collectively, together, We could build. So if I had that, that's exactly what I would do. Land. Now we build a space. You're tired of your children being in a damn corrupt, racist school system? Well, come over here. Come over here. And then I'm going to get heads together because Yarima Karama, I don't know everything. So I want to get the best of the best from our community. And I'm not talking about these Greek boule types. I'm talking about brothers and sisters from our community who are out here grinding as well, but they are very brilliant. Economic plan. Let's develop an economic plan for our people, for our community. That's the first three things I do. My people, make sure my admin team is straight, get the land, and collectively get as many brilliant minds together as possible. Get in a space. I don't care if it's the library damn conference room, but get in a space, and I don't care how long it takes. It takes 2-3 days for us to iron this out, put it on paper, come up with a plan, a productive plan for a group of 100,000 people or better, and then go from there.
I like that. Like the fact that you got that number, like that's a nice solid base to start with anywhere,
Yeah.
And it's doable, because if you got $100 million, you can attract more than $100 million. You feel me?
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, and if you are in the Cleveland area, the Unity Walk will be November the 2nd. What day is that? Is that Sunday at 4 p.m.?
That's this coming Saturday.
Saturday at 4 p.m.
Yep.
Hosted by Trent Davis, and Yarima will be in the building. So it's 966 East 105th Street or 105 if you're in the land. You already know. Just want to make sure we get the plugs out there. If they want to get your music, where do they go? They want to get the book. Where do they go? Make sure people know.
So the book, you can. We've had some problems with Amazon. You can actually. I have an app. I have my own app. So you can order. People can order through either via the app or they can order directly from me, yarimakarama@gmail.com.
Okay.
My music, the same thing. The music you can order on the app. The app has a store. And what I'm inviting people, brothers and sisters, to do is if you have a viable business and you have a very nice product, you can definitely put it in the store. There's anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 people a day that come through that app. So you have the potential to, have somebody see your product in the store and want to purchase that. So, but you can purchase the CDs either there or you can purchase them directly through me, again, yarimakarama@gmail.com. The Up From the Trenches, Out of the Tombs, which is it's factually is the best as far as production, as far as song titles, number of songs, is probably my best work. It was my last work that I did. You can actually get that in iTunes as well. iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all of those have them. And that's Up From the Trenches, Out of the Tombs. The other ones you have to get directly from me. I'm all about cutting out the middleman. So
I feel you. Man, I feel you. What's the name of the app though?
The app is Yarima Karama.
Okay.
And I try not to change my name. So it's Yarima Karama. You can actually go to my webpage, www.yarimakarama.com, or you can get it. It's in iOS or Android, Google Play, or the App Store, either one. Or you can just download it via my webpage.
Okay.
If you want to stay up on Unity Walks happening around the country, then you can go to our Unity Walk webpage, which is www.theunitywalk.com. Also, if you are listening and you're from the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, please inbox me, yarimakarama@gmail.com. We want to have our next National Unity Walk in Tulsa this coming year, 2020. We just had our national walk this past July in Kansas City, Kansas, at Kandaro Ruins, a historical black site. And this coming year, 2020, we want to have it in Tulsa, the home of Black Wall Street. So, but we need people on the ground who know the area, to aid and assist us in making that happen. So,
no doubt. You already heard the man, so reach out. And yeah, we can take some calls if y'all want to. It's 347-855-8692. I just wanted to make sure that the king got his story out, like really solid, And we like to call it an interview.
I gotta say,
go ahead, bro.
No, I gotta say this. So this is what Hamza told me, and this is for my brothers out here, and this was key for me. Because dudes want to come home and we want a woman. Hamza told me this. He said, brother, you owe it to yourself at least the first year. He said, you owe it to yourself to be by yourself. He said, brothers think they got to run home and immediately jump between some woman's legs. He said, brother, get you right first. He said, you've been locked up in a damn closet for the last almost 20 years with sharing space with somebody else. He said, you need to get your own space because I was seeing so many brothers come back for like domestic issues. Like you did all this time, you go live with some woman, and now she's really got power because you're living with her. So now she can kick you out when she wants. She can throw your stuff out. You get in an argument, or she can be your mom now, basically giving you a curfew. And I was just like, I'm not going through none of that, bro. None of that. So actually for me, my first 5 years, I didn't live with anybody. I'm in a relationship that I'm still in, but we were not living together. And he was so absolutely right. I needed that time. I needed that space. And so if I was giving advice to any young brother that's coming home, get you right first. And I think it was a thing with me, like, I didn't even want, like, if I'm not right, I don't even have an interest if I'm not right. I needed to make sure that my shit was right first before I even jumped out there, even thinking about a relationship.
So you're going to tell me after 2 years, you didn't come, I mean, not 2 years, 20 years, you ain't come out and smash something, bro?
No, nothing? I didn't. I absolutely didn't.
For a whole year?
And that word is bomb.
For a whole year?
Bomb. Now, for a whole year. And
that's some Zen-like shit right there, bro. You are a much better man than myself.
And you know what? It's not because I didn't want to, bro. Honestly, it's not because I didn't want to. It's because a lot of the women that I was meeting, and there were some women, dude come out of prison, you shining, you got your color, you ain't been drinking, partying, none of that. So women see that. So it wasn't because I didn't want to, but a lot of it was because I'm looking at them, I'm listening to the conversation, and I'm like, what happens after that? After I smash, what happens after that? And I'm a long range. I'm looking long range, and so a lot of them, unbeknownst to them, I'm doing interviews, bro. These are interviews. We ain't just kicking it. Like, I'm interviewing you, and because literally this could be life and death for me. I'm not going back to prison, especially. I already went to prison for because of a woman. We ain't going down that road again. So I'm literally giving interviews, and I was just like, what happens afterwards? And if I couldn't see anything happening after, like, why would I even share my seed with you then?
Wow.
Like black men, they need to get on. Like, it's that serious, man, and black women too. And people think I'm crazy when I say that, but look, fam, your seed is precious. Everybody shouldn't be privy to that. Everybody shouldn't be privy to your seed, man. The seed it's a sacred thing. It's very sacred. And so for you to share bodily fluids with a woman, and then afterwards there's nothing, you just smashed, she ain't deserving of that. And in some cases, you might not even have been deserving of her if she knew who she was. So that's just kind of where I'm at.
I think Rome might have exploded over there on that one. Like, no. Hey, no, why do you say that? Oh my goodness.
Hey, yo, when he said to just smash, he's like, you're not worthy of your seed. Like, in my mind, I was like, nigga, that's all you pull out. Like that was my first thought. Like, oh shoot! I can't. My mouth did drop. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was sitting there.
I'm sorry, bro. Oh man. My bad, bro, man. And I do apologize.
No, I love you, black man, man. I love you, black man. This is the conversation we need to be having.
You know.
Oh, yo.
Hey, yo. Bro. I just gave some kids like 5 loose cookies. It was in my house for Halloween, my nigga. Like,
stop it, man. Stop, man. We're not gonna go there. We ain't gonna go. That's just wrong, bro. And quite possibly illegal. I'm not sure, but that might be a crime, bro. But that is a good. That is a good point, though. That's a good point, though. I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead.
Nah. It's a very good point. It's a very good point. I understood where he was coming from. You know, it's just. It's different nowadays. It's different out here, and like you said, like everybody don't know who they are. So you know, you gotta go through those experiences sometimes. You know, like I went through that personally. So you know, yeah, and I'm still looking. So you know what?
But I'm gonna tell you too, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Part of it too is that you know if I was single right now, family. If I was single, I would be scared.
Exactly.
I would be scared.
Exactly.
Because first of all, a lot of people got devil energy with them. Black, white, it don't matter, but they got devil energy with them. But the other part is, I did almost 20 joints. I can't be out here trying to figure out if you a man or a woman. I need women. I need authentic women. I don't even have the time to do that kind of investigation. And if I got tricked, that would be a death sentence for you. I did 20 years and kept my manhood intact to come out here to sleep with somebody who got a sex change at the age of fucking 5. No, nah, bro. I'm scared. I'm scared.
Right.
I'm scared for single men out here. I'm scared for y'all. Like, be careful, bro.
It is scary. It is scary. Like even like we're like if you've been if you ever been around them, whatever. Like you for the most part you can tell. Now I can understand like dudes being fooled. Like I knew a dude who got tricked. You know he ain't know, you know what I mean? He took the joint home and found out and everything. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's the story that nigga telling you, bro. Just saying.
No, it was the story like somebody else told me about it and was like, nigga, yo, this is him.
If your man took a tranny to the crib, he's not gonna tell you, yeah, bro, I took this tranny.
He's not my man. He's not my man.
Just saying.
This nigga I work with.
He's not my man. Nigga told you, bro. Try to disassociate now, nigga.
It don't make the interaction any less gay. You know what I'm saying? It still happens.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, who would lie about that? You know what I'm saying? Like who would lie about that? Like he owned it, but he's just, everybody knows him as the dude who smashed the train. You know what I'm saying?
That is such a bizarre story, bro. I am not sure. Like that's fucked up too, to just be that guy known as. But you made that call, so you had to see that coming.
Yeah.
Pause. I feel like
it is scary though. Like even with women with the fake asses, bro. Like it's you can tell. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tell, bro. Like it don't move right. You know what I'm saying? Like it depending on how good the butt job was.
I ain't, you know, like, I ain't looking. I ain't looking for all of that. I'm good. So I'm like Yarima. I ain't even on that shit. I'm glad I ain't got to deal with that shit. Basically, you know.
Yeah.
But voting and black people. Should we vote? And if not, why? If so, what are we doing wrong with it?
We should vote if it's an agenda. We should vote if it's an agenda for us. My fault.
My bad, Yarima. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I always say I'm not the right person to ask that question because my answer is always adamantly no. I remember I just spoke at an event for ADOS, and they invited me. And my thing was, why would you vote when you know it's rigged? If I know the game is rigged, why am I still going to play? What point is it in me playing when I know the game is rigged? There's too much evidence. First of all, there's too much evidence from white people themselves to say that the shit is rigged. That we have a two-party system. It doesn't matter who you're going to get. The history has shown that they have not done anything if besides give a few pacifiers here and there when there's a little bit too much screaming or what they consider crying going on. They'll give pacifiers, but they haven't really given us anything. There's too much evidence to show that we're still up under the rulership of Britain. People aren't, and this is why I say one of the biggest problems I think for us as black people is a lack of our a lack of knowledge for us historically. We haven't kept up on our history, and therefore we have betrayed many of our black children by not keeping up on our history. Britain got this thing back in 1789, man. And so when you have to realize why there's an allegiance still to the Queen of England. That's not by coincidence. That's not statesmen being just, we're just going to be kind. No, there's still an alliance. And so the voting is frivolous. What I tell people is that if we're going to do that, we need to, and we should have been had our own black political party.
Yeah.
If we're going to vote, then let it be for people that have your best interest. No, not the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm talking about something that's not Democrat or Republican. This is black political party. And we're going to use the same techniques that you all use. We're going to extort our vote, meaning if you don't give us what we want, we're not giving you what you want. We're not even going to participate. And if our constituents that we send to D.C., if they're not voted in, then guess what? When they come back home, they are going to tell you when you send your constituents, hey, now, y'all didn't make it. Would you back me? This is what you're going to have to do in order for us to back you. And if you're not willing to do this, then no, we're not backing you. Get out of our community. What are you doing here? So I adamantly don't believe in the vote because I'm not going to play in a game that's already fixed, especially when I know it's fixed.
And see, my thing with that is like nationally, yeah, I'm wholeheartedly with you. Voting for the president, like literally, it's just a pointless endeavor. I just do it because I've been doing it, and because I know that people before me, even though they may have been wrong, they still put a lot of shit on the line for us to have that ability. But I locally, I think it does make a difference as far as like the prosecutors that you put in office and the judges that you put in office. Like, it's such a minuscule amount of votes, generally speaking, for those two jobs, and we do such a poor job with it. I think those two alone would make such a big difference. And I think my fear is that when people get such a huge following and they say, like, blanketly, don't do this or don't do that, sometimes the smaller parts of not doing that actually kind of make sense for that community.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I look at it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing. You're onto something. The most powerful person in the city is the DA. The DA can decide. The DA interprets and decides law. DA decides who gets prosecuted, who doesn't. But however, is that DA going to go? And we see a prime example of that right now in Baltimore. That DA is going. Yeah. That Marbury, she's going through hell, man. Why? Because the Fraternal Order of Police is a powerful organization. Why is the Fraternal Order of Police powerful? Because they are unified. And I think that we as black people could really take a lesson from that. Look at their unity. They're able to basically shut down a DA, the most powerful person pretty much in any city. They're able to shut her down. Now, that doesn't mean that she's still not making moves, but her moves are being impeded. So I think we have to take a look at that and be like, okay, even getting somebody in, look at what they're up against. Now, if she was pro FOP, she would have no problem. And I think the problem is much bigger than just getting somebody in. Like, there needs to be protections put around people. This is the type of unity we have to have. We vote, and then we're done. On to the next thing, and expect the candidate that we voted for, okay, get the job done. We keep it moving. No, there's a sister down in Arizona right now, chief of police, Jerry Williams. They're trying to fire her because she fired racist cops who beat up a black man while he was in cuffs. So she's trying to drain the swamp, so to speak. They got together and they're trying to get rid of her now. They got a damn petition going for people to sign the petition to keep her on the force. But this is what our people go through, and I think that we have to come to the realization that, you know, there's other obstacles. It's not just as simple as voting. There is a process that goes with this. When I look at candidates, this system works no different than the mob, man. Look at how the Italian mob works. Look at how the Irish mob works, and then you will clearly see how this system operates. No different. The only thing is that these gangsters here are on a little bit higher level. So because they're on a little bit higher level, people think that they can do no wrong, but they're still gangsters. Gangster shit still goes on. People end up dead. People get ousted. Infighting goes on. Trump is part of that. People is like, oh, get Trump out. Trump is part of that regime. The 5 families in New York, they went through battles, bruh. They had infighting and all of that. They had wars going on in Chicago. Al Capone and those Italian groups, they went through wars with each other. Yeah. That's what these groups do. But at the end of the day, guess what? They're still the 5 families. They work it out.
Right.
we as black people have to work it out. We have to get to a level where we work it out, bro.
What is on code for you?
On code is on code to me is black first. Everything. On code to me is a sister is outright being disrespectful at a public place. On code for me is one trying to pull that sister to the side, not making a scene about it. Trying to pull that sister to the side and talk with her, but even more so, not bashing the sister in front of everybody and saying, oh, so you need to shut up. No, on code is being, if I'm not going to even pull her, at least stand down. I'm not going to bash her, and I'm not going to let anybody do anything to her, too. Outside of our group. Mm-hmm. That's on code. On code is that black men need to start, we need to start fighting for one another instead of fighting against one another. Mm. I've been at, I was the manager of a pretty high manager too. It was a corporate gig. Mm-hmm. It was a young brother that was one of my employees. Now, he did a no-call, no-show for work. Then came in and said, I'm going to accept any punishment. I was like, well, first of all, how are you going to come in and dictate that you're going to accept a punishment? I said, a no-call, no-show, usually you're fired.
Facts.
He was like, oh, really? I said, yeah. I said, any job, you're fired. I said, but what I'm willing to do, there's obviously going to be a pay cut because he was a supervisor. So you did a no-call, no-show, and you're a supervisor. What that's going to do is send a message to everybody else like, yo, I can do that shit too. I said, I'm not going to fire you, but you will take a pay cut, and I will put you on a probationary period so that you can earn that back, but you got to give me 60 days, no flaws. Somewhere else, he would have been fired. He would have been gone.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
going to be honest
call.
with you, had it been somebody else, I would have fired them without batting an eye. But it was a brother, and because I know that he has a child, because I know his home situation, and that he goes through it at home. It's hard for him to get sleep. I know his home situation because we sat down and talked about it. Because of that, I said, I'm gonna look out for this brother. That's being on code. The ball was in my court. Mm-hmm. I had the ability to make a decision because had it been anybody else, they would have let him go. No call, no show. That's just how it would have been. There would have been no excuse. But I looked at it different because, I know you got a child, and I know your home situation. It's hard. I know the hours that you work. You work third shift. And when you get home, you're in a home situation where it's hard for you to get sleep. Not making no excuses, but I get it.
Right.
Being on code to me, if I see an elder in our community, they get the utmost respect. That's just to me being on code. I don't care that they cussing you out. That's an elder. They didn't pay dues, man. They didn't pay dues. We have to respect our elders. Now that doesn't mean I have to sit back and take the cussing out, but I have to be a little bit more patient because they didn't pay dues. They didn't seen a little bit more than I've seen. Being on code, I'm going to open that door for that elder, for that grandmother. I'm going to open that door for that grandfather. Being on code, your children become my children. If I don't see you out and I see your children, especially with our kids getting snatched the way they are right now, being on code says that child just became my child until I know that child is safe, in a safe space. I can't shuck my duty.
That's real shit right there.
It's just really looking at from a black perspective at things like my people are first, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with looking at like my people come first. Being on code, if you're in a store and you see somebody in duress, you got to get involved if it's one of our people. I mean, to me, the time for being scared is like over. We should be past that.
Yeah, we should be.
At this point, we're dying anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's just disheartening sometimes, man. And I'm no super try to save the world type of cat. We do the show and we try to put out some information here and there, but we're so disassociated from one another that it really is saddening.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sorry to kind of bring it down, man, but sometimes, man, you think about it, man. It's like for your kids, your grandkids, your lineage. You know, you think about that shit, especially as a man.
Yeah.
When I'm gone, I want them to still be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and not just good, actually better. You know, I didn't raise my kids to be me. I raised them to be better than me. Yeah. Which the bar is low on that one, but, you know, still. I had dreams and goals and aspirations for mine, just like anybody else. Anyway, that's my tirade for the day. And I have at least one to show, man. If you do want to call in, the number is 347-855-8692. And sometimes Blog Talk kind of be tripping, so I do apologize if you've had to call in a couple of times. And shout out to Koya too, man. I'd be remiss if I don't say that. Always been dope, you know. Fucks with her heavy. If she need anything, you already know. And I definitely am gonna try to make it Saturday too, because I'm off work and I think I'll be here. So that's love,
dope. Brother. Absolutely, shout out Koya. She's spectacular, brother. Spectacular
she
queen,
definitely is. And I'm not gonna lie. There have been a couple of times. There have been a couple of times during the show where I mentally heard you say, "Look it up," after you said some shit, bro. We're gonna have to get you to say that once. I'm just saying. I had to. I like in my mind, I heard that shit. Like, look it up. Like I think I channeled it too, man, for the promo. I tried. You know, I couldn't do it, you know, the correct justice, but I tried, bro. But that shit, like when you say that, man, that just get a nigga so hyped, man. I be like, yeah, look that shit up. You know, so I do, man. So shout out to you. You know, and that's a good way that you can connect with people, because it's not just me. You know what I'm saying? Like that puts that right emphasis at the right time on it. But we do got a caller, 6067. If you cool with taking some calls.
Absolutely.
All right, no doubt. What's good, fam?
Hey, what's going on, fam? Peace and black power. This is brother Zodred, calling from Orlando.
Zodred. Yeah.
What's good, fam? What's good, y'all? Well, hey, I've been listening ever since, man. I've been on for an hour. I followed the brother, Mr. Yarima. I say since 2016, I've been following him. So, you know, and I'm a member of the Unity Walk. I had a Unity Walk 2 years ago. I flew him out to Orlando, Florida. Okay. It turned out to be real good, you know, powerful situation that we had down in Orlando. And I want to and peace to that brother, man. You know, he brought light to the community, you know what I'm saying? So, but just want to put that out there, man.
Definitely appreciate that on his behalf.
Yes, sir.
That's love, man.
Yes, sir. And you guys have an Instagram, right? Because I like to follow you guys on the gram. I mean, you know, it's just my first time hearing about you guys.
Oh, it's My Skin Is My Sin and the number one. And we might have the dopest Instagram account out there, bro, if you look at the pictures. And I'm not capping either, man. I'm just real shit.
Right. Cool.
No, that's right.
And I don't blame you, man. And, well, hey, I had a question for Mr. Yarima here, brother. And I want to know, brother, when you got out of prison, right, did you get any retribution when you get out of prison? The time that you did?
No, brother. I didn't get anything as far as which is monetary or anything. No, I didn't get anything. Wow. But I wasn't expecting to get anything though either. You know, I went to trial, and all white jury found me guilty, so there's not really too much that you can get from that. The problem is this. Here's the problem, is that you get people, and thank goodness for DNA testing, but that's a small part of it, because DNA testing, think about this, and I've talked about this before, think about DNA testing. When DNA testing came out, literally, Governor Ryan of Chicago, he stopped death sentences, because literally like 125 people, their DNA showed that they didn't commit the crime. So with that was just one governor. He was the governor. What did they do to him? They found him on some charges and ended up locking him up. He was good until he shut down the death penalty. Yeah. So, but even bigger, all these people, since DNA testing has been established, all these people have gotten off of either death row or gotten their cases exonerated and gotten out of prison because the DNA testing showed that they weren't involved. You have other people who are saying, hey, check the DNA testing. I wasn't involved. Now prosecutors don't want to check it for fear that these people might be exonerated themselves. These are death cases. These are cases where somebody killed somebody or rape cases. Think about the dude in prison who's accused of selling drugs. There ain't no DNA. So how many of our brothers and sisters right now are doing prison time who didn't do anything, who did nothing? You just had the case down there in Alabama with thousands of cases that these cops planted drugs on these brothers and sisters. So, I mean, you know, at some point, that's why I'm saying, when we talk about being on code, that's why I'm all black everything. That's why I'm all black first, unapologetically black everything, because we're going to always be the ones to get the shaft. White people right now are not worried about a cop framing them. They're not worried about that.
No, not at all.
They don't leave their house. The average white person in this country does not leave their house worried about, is a cop going to pull me over and kill me? They just don't. They don't, man. The average white person is not worried about, damn, is my son going to be accosted at school today? They don't have that worry. We do. Every black man that I know, a conscious black man, who's out here doing work, it's always that. We always have to talk to our significant others, our spouses, who are constantly trying to talk us out of, why do you keep doing this? These people are going to kill you. Man, you don't know, brother, how many times my mother has told me, you know these people are going to kill you, because they don't like people that tell the truth. When you have to hear that from your mother, I highly doubt there's a household in this country with somebody, some white parent or some white spouse telling her husband or her son, you know these people are going to kill you. I highly doubt that. But that's how we have to live.
Right. Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I didn't get any retribution, because how am I going to?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, 6067, but you sounded like you was in the wind tunnel, bruh. I'm going to bring you back in. I just want to make sure people can hear the king speak. All right, we got you back live, 6067.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, okay, bro. That's very powerful, man, because I read an article. A brother did 139 years.
Hold on, 6067. You can't be too long now.
Oh, okay. No. I just want to put this. I just want to put this out real quick. I was a brother, I think, out of Alabama, I guess. He did 139 years, and they gave him $1 million for all the years, because it turned out to be.
Hey, bro, I hate to really do this to you, man, but there is absolutely, I'm pretty sure there's absolutely no way that man did 139 years.
Not 139 years. I think he did 39 years. I'm sorry, 39 years.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
My fault, man. My fault. Yeah, he was 39 years. Yeah. So, you know, that
I was gonna say, like, am I hearing something wrong here?
Right, like, nigga, 139 years. It was he Moses?
Nah. Yeah, that was he was out before law.
I'm sorry, bro, man. We can be silly sometimes, man. I hope you don't take no offense, man. We try to keep it respectful.
No, y'all good, man. Y'all good, man. I didn't meant to say that, but yeah, 39 years, man. But like I said, man, that's what happened, you know. And you know, brother, like I said, man, peace to you, brother, Mr. Yarima, and peace to you, brothers, for doing this work, man. You know what I'm saying? So you know,
we appreciate that, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
family.
And, yes, sir. And peace to the gods, and appreciate the answer, brother Yarima. So, you know, we're gonna chat later.
Yep.
Okay.
Peace, family. Be safe out there.
You already know.
Oh my goodness, man!
I'm so glad you corrected that, because I was like, wait a minute.
I was trying not to say anything, bro.
I was bugging. I was like, yo, he said 130. I'm like, yo, what kind of nigga?
Right. What was that nigga diet? I need that. Right.
That's a porn-free diet his whole life. Like, no Kool-Aid, no, you know what I'm saying? No bologna. Nigga said 139, yo. I was like, yo. Is John Henry, nigga?
Wow.
Like,
oh my goodness. Oh man, I'm sorry, bro.
My belly's over here. I'm laughing so damn hard.
Oh my goodness.
Oh shoot.
Oh no,
in my head.
I mean, I have never been to the federal joint or whatnot, but from my understanding, they give you a bus ticket, and that's pretty much what most people get. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I
take a bus ticket and $75. Yeah. Bus ticket is $75. And if you got some money on your books, you might not get the $75. If you got some money that you have, you might not get that. So a lot of people be clearing their books before they go just so they can get that. Just to say you got something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I want my 75, bro.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not even gonna lie. I'm buying Twinkies, whatever.
Yeah. What's interesting about these feds is they got this, and this is what really puts things in perspective. They have this. It's in Oklahoma City. It's their holdover facility, and anybody who's been in the feds, you go through there, and basically they got you lined up on the wall. So you literally land in the plane. You don't touch. You land in the plane. You don't touch outside. Period. Everything is inside. They line you up against this wall, and you might have. So you got people that they've flown in from all over the country. You probably will fly all day. Like literally, you're on that plane all day. This damn plane's got a goddamn on one of the wings of the plane. It has some damn that green tape on it, duct tape. And you looking out at this damn wing, you'd be like, I know they didn't stick this thing together with some damn duct tape. But literally, there's gray duct tape on the wing. So you're in this plane going up and down all day. You get here to Oklahoma City, and literally you got people, you might have flew to New York. You might have did the East Coast run. So you picked up people in New York. You picked up people in Pennsylvania. You might have stopped off in Ohio and picked people up. So now you're all lined up against this wall. You got the women on one end, and then right next to them, the epitome of a slave auction, bro. the epitome of a slave auction. Like you're all standing there shackled against this wall. And you better not move out. You better stay standing. You better not move out of that wall. And that just really, like when I and I've been through there so many times because they've transferred me so many times, but that just really kind of put it in perspective for me as far as like, this shit is really slavery. Like this shit is really, like I'm really seeing this shit. And every time I go through there, when I was every time I would go through there, I would just think about what the ancestors went through. This is the shit that they went through. When you got your hands and your feet shackled, you can't do shit. And I'm just like, wow, man. And that's what our people go through. And so that's why I say, like being on code, we have no excuses because those that came before us, they paid a hell of a price, man. And so that's just my my particular take.
I think we spend a lot of time like fighting battles, like let's say religion, for example. Now, I don't really care, and I say this all the time. You can pray to a pink elephant. I don't give a fuck. It makes you a better person. Keep praying to the pink elephant. Shit's weird, but it works for you. But I think that a lot of people get caught up in trying to change people's ideology, religious-wise or spiritual-wise, when if we avoided that, I think we would be so much further along.
Well,
what do you think?
I think that I don't necessarily agree with that, and here's why. I don't think it's a thing of changing ideology as it is them saying basically their way is the only way and not acknowledging any other way. I mean, you really have about what I think 5,000 different religions in the world, and all of them say their way is the way. I mean, so if they're not, tell me the groups that even acknowledge like there's more than one way. Tell me those groups. Like we're Christian over here, but we recognize that there's not just one way to heaven. Those groups aren't doing that. They're going to tell you because they're about building numbers. They're about their particular organization, and in most cases, they're not even going to be accepting of anybody else. I've done videos like there's a community here in a 1 block radius. 1 block, not mile, 1 block. You got 8 churches. 1 block. 8 churches, and in one case, you got 2 churches right across the street from one another. 2 churches right across the street. Both of those churches, very nice structures, probably the nicest structures in this poor black community. But you got 8 churches in one community. Why? And they're Christian. They're all 8 of them churches say they're Christian. Okay, so then you got the Muslims. You got the Shiites and the Shiites and the other groups.
Sunnis.
So yeah, the Sunnis and the Shiites. Then you got different even the Christian community. You got different things. So you got the Baptists. You got Jehovah's. You got Southern Baptists. You got Protestants. I mean, come on, man. And each one of them will tell you that their way is the way. How do you got a poor community that you literally have homeless outside the church, but you got 2 churches right across the street from one another? I mean, the hypocrisy in it, and my problem is that they don't even adhere to their own word. They don't even adhere to their own word. If they adhere to what they claim that Jesus said, if they just adhere to half of that, but they don't. And so I think that, and I mean, for the ones that, like you said, for the ones that if it helps them, if they believe that that's what makes them a better person, who am I to say Who am I to say different? But I feel like I can point out that, bruh, okay, this makes you a better person, and I get it. But the reality of this is that this story is Isis, Osiris, and Horus. Come on, bruh. Don't give me the white Jesus thing. The reality of that is that every religion has used this same story, the triune. Every religion has used the Mary conceiving the baby out of a miraculous conception. And come on, man. All of them have. But it all derived from our ancestors, Isis and Osiris. So you know, I don't have any problem with you wanting to be better, but acknowledge the truth of it.
Yeah, Pastor Wilson told me that
Stop it, bro.
you know.
Don't go there, man. Don't go there. Not today, man. We're talking about. Oh, and don't forget, man, we got the water cooler tomorrow. It's a little more adult-like in the humor. Let's put it that way. But we do live stream on YouTube and Facebook. So that's from 9 to 11 tomorrow. Just look up My Skin Is My Sin. You silly, bro.
Awesome.
You silly, bro. hey, man, like I'm not even gonna lie, man. I thought the brother was gonna be like just super just pissed off, like angry, like get this shit out the way. You got questions? Let's go. But man, like,
me?
Yeah. I did, man. You know, you got a certain like visual of a person's persona off of who they are of the videos you've seen, and not that I don't agree with the shit you be saying, you know, but
yeah,
you kind of like, okay, is this what are we gonna get him like that? You know, kind of like a little aggressive and shit. You know, I don't want to offend the brother. You know, so it's been dope, bro. You know?
Yeah. No, now, don't get me wrong. The right subject. Now, I take all of this serious, but I do. People that know me personally, they know I laugh. I think we have to. Right? It's good for the spirit. But I think that a lot of times we got to laugh to stop from crying because the shit be funny, but at the end of the day, it's not funny. You know, I mean. Right. The religion thing to me, honestly, family, is funny. I grew up in a Protestant household, man. I grew up in a Protestant household where I saw with my own eyes Ella May screwing Pastor Henderson. I saw this with my own eyes. But you gonna go to church the next day? Like you ain't. I saw y'all kissing and hugging up. I saw that. And the pastor's got a wife. I know his wife. I sat on his wife's lap as a young kid. So come on, man. Stop it. The hypocrisy in this shit.
Right.
Just stop it. You know.
Right.
And so now it's become it's even worse because now it's become a money grab.
Yeah. And your pastor can say these hoes ain't loyal.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's just like you gotta laugh at this shit because you see it and you be like, it upsets you, but at the same time it's like, come on, y'all don't see that shit? Like really? Like if all the money that you giving these pastors, we could literally save communities. We could literally save communities if the churches over the last 30 years, you've given them over $30 billion. Come on, man. We could be out here saving mad communities with that money. But this dude's flying around in a Learjet, messing with everybody's wife in the congregation, and people pretending like they don't see it. Then when you get brothers that come in with the real, now because everybody's getting paid, and these are money grabs, man. These are money grabs. Most people don't even know that, like banks, they have a call center. Banks have a call center, and what they do is they call these churches, and they say, hey, you put your money here. When you see a lot of these pastors in these new cars, it's because they got the bank. You put your money in our bank, and these are the amenities that you will be afforded. Put your money over here, because what the bank does is they take that money and loan it out.
Right.
And all of it. So when you see the pastor driving around in a new Jaguar, a new BMW Benz, it ain't always that he got that from the congregation. A lot of times he got that shit from the bank just for putting his money there. But these are white banks. So they don't have our best interests at heart. They don't care about us. What are the banks doing? They go and loan that money out to white construction companies who come into our communities, build, and then gentrify. And the pastor knows this, and he's not going to speak on it because him and his family is doing well. So, I mean, you know, it's a money grab. They're doing land grabs. They're doing people grabs, body snatches. It's a whole lot of stuff going on out here.
That's a fact.
And see, I guess my thing about it is that, like, and I don't know how accurate it is, but they say about 85% of black folks go to church. So even though I agree with you, it's like that battle is not a winnable battle. Thus, you know, from the strategies that have been used thus far, put it that way. Now, I would think that instead of trying to fight that battle, even though you may not necessarily agree with the ideology completely, we could actually raise better pastors. Like there's some kids out there. There's a 10-year-old out there right now that believes in for whatever reason, like he just got something in him. You know, raise him to be more disciplined in how he does his community. You know, as a community, that's just my 2 cents. Like sometimes, you know, if you can't beat them, join them basically, and not literally joining them, but change from within. I guess that's a long story short.
I mean, the change from within got to come.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, I'm listening.
I feel like the change from within has to come from us collectively. I mean, it's going to start off with a certain group of people, but we don't trust people, and we don't trust people. Black people are the only people who discriminate. Like, I've literally seen Christians discriminate against Muslims because of the way that they pray. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, oh, I don't want, you know, I don't do this and I don't do that. But at the same time, like, if you a good person, you a good person. I know some shitty ass Christians. I know some shitty ass niggas who Muslims too. You know what I'm saying? I know some shitty ass Jews. Like, I know some shitty ass everybody.
I mean, but yeah, you know some shitty ass mechanics too, or some shitty ass doctors, but you don't be like, that doctor ain't shit.
That's true. That's true. But what I'm saying, I say all that to say this: if your spirit right, your spirit right. It really don't matter who you believe in, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If your spirit right, your spirit is right. Yeah. And that's the energy that we should be building off of. Your energy right, your energy right. All those labels don't mean nothing. It's not getting us nowhere. It's not doing nothing but keeping us divided at the end of the day. So it's more so about finding more like-minded, more spiritually minded people that do what you do and building from there and collectively have communities within communities.
I think people over I don't know how to say it, but when we think of unity, people automatically think we need to agree on 100% of shit. No, like, bro, we could agree on like 60% of shit. Like, we doing great. You know, like, there's some hardcore shit that we should be able to agree on pretty easily.
Like,
you know,
white people don't agree on everything. Yeah, like white people don't agree on everything, but they agree on. At the end of the day, they agree on the main principle, which is white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? And they're on code. They're on code with their shit. So that's the shit that we should be practicing. That should be taught.
That's debatable. Just saying.
What you're saying is right and exact. What you're saying is right and exact, but at the end of the day, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm saying what you're saying is right and exact, but at the end of the day, here's the reality. And you give the example of the doctor. So we don't shit on one doctor's bad. We don't shit on them all. But that's not necessarily true. you get a couple of doctors that have done some nefarious stuff, people do tend to start looking at the whole industry with the skeptical eye. White people, get a couple brothers that done some shit, and that becomes the stereotypical shit that white people measure us by. It does.
True. Yeah.
And so I mean, this is people. Now, yeah, one person, one doctor does something, some skullduggery type, nefarious type shit. Okay, that's one. But a couple doctors do that shit. 3, 4. Oh yeah, people are starting to look at it, the whole industry like, wait a minute, what the hell now? That's just the nature of people. The thing with the religion is, like, how long, my thing is this. Just being on some real shit. This is just real. Do people actually believe? Like, look at the conditioning, man. Look at this. If you didn't know Christianity, or if you didn't know the Bible, let's say I'm talking to you right now, just as like we're just here on planet Earth. We ain't been subjected to the Bible, none of this shit. We ain't been told about no Adam and Eve, and now they come up with the story named Lilith. They're saying that before Eve even existed, there was a woman named Lilith who came from the earth just like Adam, but Lilith wanted equal rights and therefore wouldn't lay up under Adam when he requested to have sex with her. So God told Lilith, look, you either got to lay up under him or you're going to have to come back into the heavens. So Lilith went into the heavens. Like, they got a whole story now on that. Like, and then finally God said, well, I do need a mate for Adam. So then he made Eve from Adam's rib. So that's the new story. But let's say none of us know none of this shit. Let's say none of us know none of this, and I come to you, brothers, and I say, you're a sinner. Simply because you were born, you're a sinner. But there's a motherfucker that's going to come out of heaven and save you one day. And you don't know, you aren't privy to the Bible, none of that. And I tell you that there's going to be a human being that's going to fly out of the sky and save you one day. Come on, man. This is the biggest fairy tale shit. Like, how long was it before you realized that Santa Claus isn't real? How long was it before you realized that the Tooth Fairy was mom and dad? I mean, come on, right. There has to come a time where black people be like, wait a minute. This is the biggest fairy tale that was ever sold, because the average, many white, I tell you what, the Vatican over there, the Pope, he don't believe that shit. He don't believe that. He knows no damn Jesus. He knows damn well there's no Jesus that's going to come out of them clouds and say, he knows it, man. So I mean, we get caught up on the fairy tale, and so it's hard for me to balance being a realist. It's hard for me to balance between, like, okay, leaving that alone with the part of Yarima Karama that says, no, wait a minute, you got to talk. That's some bullshit. People can't keep buying into this bullshit, man. And I mean, we can have great pastors, we can have great reverends. That's fine and dandy, but if what I feel that they're teaching the people a lie, it's a blatant lie. And the fact of the matter is that there's books missing. Why are those books missing? And what is in those books that they did not want the people to know?
Well, I didn't know that Eve was a rebound. That makes a little bit more sense.
That makes a little bit more sense. One already said no? Come on, bro.
But see, listen, you know what I'm saying? Eve was a side chick. For real. You know what I'm saying? Like, real rap.
Oh yeah, that's the newest. That's, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna try to I'll try to send you all the video. But yeah, please do. It's like the craziest. Yeah, after the show, inbox me your email. I'll send it to you. But it's like the craziest thing. But I mean, we have to be. I always say I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and you know, meaning that I'm not. And that's what the unity walk. That's what we're about. We want to be able to break bread with any one of our brothers and sisters. So we don't adhere to the religion. Our last principle that we do abide by is spirituality. So we got 5 strategies. One is politics. We believe that if we're going to be here, and nobody's making big, large treks back to Kebulon, so if we're going to be here, we need our own black political party. The Democrats and Republicans, they are not working, nor were they created for us anyway. Secondly, we believe in buying as much land up as possible. If we're going to be here, we need to own as much of this country as possible, and you own it by land. I will take land over real estate any day. I would rather own the land that your real estate sits on. I got more power than you. Finally, next is education or economics. Next is economics. We need our own economic system. Why in this day, 2019, going into 2020, we don't have a black PayPal or a black Cash App? I mean, we talk about buying black, but shit, every time you swipe your card, you're swiping white. Makes no sense. So unless you're doing hand-to-hand transactions with a black business, that means Frank White, that white guy, he gets a cut of everything every time you swipe your card. Now, I know that there's a sister who was trying to get a PayPal. She was going through hell and high water. She had to go through the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and everything. Why, in 2019, do we have to go through white people for everything? Everything. You look at our condition in this country. We have no economic infrastructure. If you talk about we got a black bank, okay, but they still FDIC accredited. So it's still, at the end of the day, it's still attached to the government. We don't have a financial system in this country where white people are not involved. We don't have it. So economics, we need our own economic system. This is what made Muammar Gaddafi a threat, and that's why Obama and Hillary had him killed, because he was going to make the gold standard the money. And that was going to knock out the euro, that was going to knock out the dollar and everything else. And they knew it. And it was probably going to start uniting Africa, and they can't have that. The next thing, we need our own education system that teaches real black history. And I'm not talking about the Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King history. I'm talking about real black history of who we were prior, because slavery is just a small part. That's just a smidget of our history. See, we had dynasties. Dynasty upon dynasty for millions of years in a Kebulon that spread out. We used to own Europe. When you talk about, our children need to know Europe means roped in, because we knew that there was that the European was a problem. They weren't even considered European then. So what happened? They sent them up into Europe and roped them in, meaning that it was guarded, making sure that no whites could come out. That's what it means, to rope in, Euro. So our children need to know this. They need to know our history prior to slavery, and then they need to know the fall. And then they need to bring that down. And then you talk about the real history of subjugation in this country. Yeah, they need to know that white people used black babies as bait to catch alligators. They absolutely need to know that. Absolutely. Because they need to know who they are dealing with. And no, that doesn't mean that they have to go to school and blurt it out, but they do need the tools necessary to fight in the system of white racism. And right now, those tools is knowledge. Those tools are information. And I'm sorry, even for our children, there's never no such thing as too much information. So they need to know these things. They need to know that, they put our people in human zoos next to real animals, because they need to know the type of beast. Why do they need to know this? So that when they start to see characteristics in Europeans, because those characteristics always show their head, then they can start putting the pieces together. Oh, this is why they act like this. Oh, it's a full moon. This is why this is going on. Yeah. So they have a basis to base certain things on. Right now, we're not giving them that. That love who you love everybody, that's not working. Because then they go into that thinking that, they go into life thinking that, and then they get a rude awakening like, Mom, I just interviewed a young man a couple of weeks back by the name of Rashard. He got kicked. This dude is so brilliant. Brilliant 13-year-old. First of all, he has the highest GPA in his school. He's an 8th grader taking 9th and 10th grade math and science classes. So the white people already don't like that. When he started at the school, he had the highest GPA of any student they've ever had. Because of his GPA, what happens is at that particular school, they have dinner. The principal and the school board will have a dinner in honor of the highest GPA students. Rashard had the highest. Miraculously, the school board forgot to call him for the dinner. They called everybody else who was white, but they forgot to call Rashard and then sent out an apology to his mother like, oh, we forgot. You forgot? The person with the highest GPA ever in your school, you forgot to call them. Come on, man.
Wow.
And Rashard is like, so now he's been suspended from school. Highest GPA, he's an 8th grader taking 9th and 10th grade math and science classes. I know these crackers are trying to stymie his education. I see it. His mother sees it. But Rashard is like, and his mother, she teaches him. She's a very strong black woman. So Rashard is like, man, I don't know why this is going on. Our children need to know why it's going on. They need to know why. So what we have done is we've set up some things. I did a special broadcast for people to educators to connect, so we can get this young man into some other alternative schools of learning. And so that is happening right now.
Awesome.
But our children around the country are going through this type of stuff, so they need to know.
Right.
So education, we need our own education system. But the last strategy for the Unity Walk is spirituality. And the reason it's spirituality is because I honestly believe that we are spiritual beings. We weren't attached to a religion when you're born. You're just not. That's something that is man-made, that's given to you. Because if you're born, what if your mother's a Muslim? Does that necessarily make you a Muslim? Now, over the course of your life, she will, if she's or you and the father are embedded in the Muslim religion, well, then they will probably bring you into it too. But when you're born, you're not born with a religion attached, but you are a spiritual being. You come from a spiritual plane of existence. And so this way, we can break bread with everybody. I want to break bread with Muslims. I want to break bread with the Christians. I want to break bread with the Black Hebrew Israelites. I want to break bread with the Black Jews. But you got to leave the religious part of it out because that divides us. And the system knows that. The system knows that religion and politics divides people.
Yeah.
And because they know it divides us as a group of people, they use it, and they use it very well.
Yo, and family, I just looked up, man. We got like about 5 minutes left, man. I did not realize the shit. My bad.
Oh, damn.
Right. Well, we gotta have you come back, bro. This was a phenomenal conversation, bro.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Wow, time flies.
Right. Like I just looked up. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, that was.
Damn.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Dope conversation, bro. And people inboxing me like, man, that's dope. That's dope. Like, I'm not really saying anything, but yeah, it is.
Right. Yeah, I'd love to come back, brother. Love to.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have to do that. Hey, and I'm gonna try. Like I said, I'm gonna try to make it out Saturday too, man. The fucked up part about it is I tried to come to the last one because it's like 10 minutes from the crib. So
okay,
I get to the park, man. This shit's ghost town, and I hit Quay up like, look, bro, ain't nobody out here. She's like, well, did you look into so and so? And I'm like, yeah, I drove to. And she's like, I've been in Cleveland for about 20 years, but I'm not from here, so that's not like a park I would go hang out at, you know. So apparently y'all was there, and I just missed y'all. I'm like, ain't this a bitch? And once I got to the house, man, I'm lazy, bro. Like you get one tank, bro.
Well, it was funny, brother, because one brother, shout out to Pedal from a Black Rose. This brother, he's like, Yarima, why did you pick this park of all parks in Cleveland? And I'm like, bro, I didn't pick it. I didn't want to say Trent picked it. But the pedal from Black Road, shout out Jerome. But he was just like, man, no, this ain't the park to have this at. You needed to be someplace else. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's like the hood park
for the money over here.
Yeah,
that's actually a strong possibility. Like during the summertime, like I don't know much, like that's one of the things I know about Cleveland. Like that's like one of their spots where they break out the cars, come out and drive around, and it's the smallest parking lot, man. Shit's embarrassing, it really is, man. No disrespect to
that's a historical park.
It's tragic, bro. Like, and it's just
look, bro. It was more than bringing out the cars, bro. They was doing some stuff like we won't say on the air, but I'm just like, oh shoot. when we said we like having unity walks in the hood, well, this is as hood as it's gonna get, bro.
Yeah,
right. Unity dice game.
Hood. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? A good dice game can be a community bonding experience.
A good dice game can unify brothers. It's also divide.
Actually, that's just no. It never has. Somebody goes home mad, man. Like, and actually, I would not recommend anybody play dice in the streets. That shit never ends well. I'm just joking.
Right.
Yeah, I'll play cards or I'll play some poker, but dice, man, dudes, no, that shit don't end well. I've seen it. But hey,
man,
come on, man, can you tell your co-defendants to chill out for a second, bro? We only got like 5 more minutes.
Yo, my fault, man. We keep following me and shit.
Hey, anybody you want to shout out before we go, man? And I already inboxed you my email address too, man. And yeah, we're gonna definitely stay in touch, man. It was a nice build, bro. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, I just want to shout out the Unity Walk admin team. I love you guys, everything that you do. There's no me without you. Shout out Shabazz Tribe. Shabazz Tribe said he's going to try to call in, but that was an hour ago, so I'm sure he's off. And then Koya. Queen Koya, you're awesome. Thank you. I just like, there's certain people, man, that so I met Koya at the Unity Walk, and she was just like, yo, I've been following you for years. I'm finally meeting you. And I was just like, those things, it's like, when people say that, like, yo, I'm just a regular dude, man, out here doing my job, what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's always enthusing. But Koya's special, man. Koya's on it. Koya takes care of business, man. I'm really, really, she's what our movement needs. And she gets it done. And yes. I'm so appreciative for her and others that move like her, because that's exactly, I always say, the more people, the less work that we have to do. But, when you only got a few, if they move and are consistent and know how to move, you can still get a lot done. So she's one of those people that I highly respect for the work she does. And I respect you all. Look, I started off in Blog Talk back in like 2013, and I know it's you got to come. Look, people don't know. People don't know. First of all, trying to get people on the show. Then you got to come up with topics. You got to, you're trying to keep a show going, especially going 2 hours. So people don't know that's work, man. Yeah, that's work. People think this shit is easy, but I tell people all the time, like, because they always, people like to give you suggestions. And a lot of times it's not even suggestions. They want to tell you how to run your thing. And I'm like, all you got to do is do the same thing I did. Go start your own shit. And you'll see how easy or difficult it is. I don't use the teleprompter.
We don't put much effort into it, bro. I'm not even going to lie, man. We're not that good at it, man.
Really?
We just talk shit, bro. We don't really come up with topics anymore, man. We just run our mouths, man. A couple people like this shit, you know.
I ain't even going for that. I ain't even going for that, bro. I'm not even going for that. You know why? You know why I'm not going for that? Because Koya wouldn't have set me up with a show to do just people talking shit. I ain't going for it.
We've been doing it for a minute, man. So I don't know, man. I gotta have it. I kind of downplay our shit, man. But we have really had some phenomenal conversations over the years, man, with some really dope ass people. So you know, and it's just kind of like our way of controlling our narrative. Oh, and shout out to the family, man. LiberationMindedMedia.net, man. That is our family. Black I Stand Radio, Do the Knowledge Radio, The Rundown with Renee, and My Skin is My Sin. You already know, man. But yeah, so we got a couple of shows together, man, and we kind of like, you know, coordinate, you know, operate as a little team, family, and just to be able to put some shit out where we feel comfortable with it being out.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Well, you guys are doing great. Keep it going. Black media is needed right now more than ever because, you know, otherwise our information is not going to get out. It's just not. So keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you. And we need to support this.
All right, Ron, what you got, man? Really quickly, bro. Because I got to play the Zero and Steady Dropping, man. This shit's fire.
Oh, man, let me get mine out. All right. Shout out Keys Development. Shout out 300 Gangsters. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Shout out to our guests. We appreciate you, brother. Definitely want to have you back. And follow me on IG at @strivingforperfection_43. And holler at us tomorrow. We got the water cooler popping. And peace.
You already know, man. Check us out tomorrow on YouTube and the My Skin is My Sin Facebook page. Actually, I don't think we'll be on there because they have suspended my shit till January. But we will be on YouTube live from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And it's the water cooler, so we talk about all topics all the time. Man. But we're about to get into this Zero and Steady Dropping by Yarima. Yo, y'all gotta check out this fucking music, man. This shit is crack, man. Literally, I'm telling you, seriously. You know, and shout out to you, man. Have a good one. We out.
You too. Thanks, man.
Started barking and the baby started crying. The gun started sparking and the kids started dying. When the Vikings started stealing and the slaves started screaming. When they lost sight of God and teamed up with demons. There is no dreaming. Everybody out here is scheming. Mickey D's don't pay the rent, so they started triple beaming. Chicago started G'ing. Chicago started lording. Planned Parenthood promoted black on black abortion. Cali started blooding. Cali started cripping. Birds turned to chickens and rats started snitching. Gangsters started flipping. Bankers started thieving. The devil shook the church. Believers stopped believing. The government started a war, no valid reason. Eric Snowden told the truth, they called it treason. Young soldiers is dying, defending our interests. Pay your taxes to Uncle Sam plus the interest. 28, 27, I'm steady dropping. 16, 15, I'm steady dropping. 8, 7, 6, I'm steady dropping. I'm 0 and steady dropping. Any colder, I'm frozen. Now the rock's turning gray and Hillary picked up wrinkles. Wanna have sex? Just call 1-800-SINGLES. Married? Just call 1-900-CHEATAS. Taxes is going up and postage is off the meter. Gets deeper. Everyone's trying to win at the lotteries. Kids are being assaulted and there's more acts of sodomy. Lobotomies are no longer used as a torture. Now they just strap you to a chair and waterboard you. The Catholic Church and its priests give out blessings. They can't seem to contain their own sexual aggression. Close the Bible, they pedophiles molesting. Sacrificial lambs are the kids who give confessions. Trying to get some insight, so we like to grow up. You know what? Wickedness in people will make you throw up. Heroin and crack were both an epidemic. Racism against blacks worldwide has no limits. 28, 27, I'm steady dropping. 16, 15, I'm steady dropping. 8, 7, 6, I'm steady dropping. I'm 0 and steady dropping. 0 and steady dropping. People buying guns strictly to kill their neighbors. Got the nerve to say that they waiting on a savior. No thanks, Al Sharpton, I don't need no favors. You, Don Lemon, and Jesse Jackson are all haters. Put you in the same category as David Duke. You the black KKK, I'm just spreading out the truth. Africa had gold, Europe used trickery. They stole it, I exposed it. Now they say they sick of me. Hickory dickory, just giving you the history. Black crucifixion ain't been no biblical mystery. I'm in the projects, call them New Age pyramids. Got geniuses, scholars, even lower level lyricists. Drug addicts flourishing, treatment ain't curing them. Hard times is the plague here, people enduring them. When Constantine brought destruction to the people, that's when we flip from positive to negative 0. I'm steady dropping. 16, 15, I'm steady dropping. 8, 7, 6, I'm steady dropping. I'm 0 and steady dropping. 0 and steady dropping. 28, 27, I'm steady dropping. 16, 15, I'm steady dropping. 8, 7, 6, I'm steady dropping. I'm 0 and steady dropping. Any colder, I'm frozen, I'm dropping.